All right. I think we have technical difficulties that are resolved. Yay. So sorry for the late start, guys. I've got some new technology learning curves, but that's okay. I will get those sorted out. No worries. So welcome to day two. So let me recap real quick. Well, okay, before we do that, as you're dropping in and popping on, say hey, comment, you know, or post your name in the comments. Say hey, I did my homework. If you didn't post on the homework, post that you did that. If you're watching the replay, say hashtag replay. I love getting to see who is dropping in. So if you were not here with us yesterday, and to recap, this week we are learning all about how to eat to optimize brain health and prevent and reverse Alzheimer's and cognitive decline in general. So I want to recap yesterday really quickly. Hey Debbie, thanks for popping on. This is day two of technology difficulties, but we're going to power through. So I wanted to recap yesterday for a second. Yesterday, we dove really deep into the science that Alzheimer's and cognitive decline can, in fact, be prevented and reversed. However, there are at least 36 factors that contribute to the disease process. And so that's why no one drug has ever really worked. So one of the biggest things that you can do to have the most impact to get started is to look at what you're eating. So that's why what we're doing this week is we're going to focus on that food and using food as medicine to heal and do great things for our brain. So yesterday we went over it's called the Keto Flex 12-3 diet or food plan. It was developed specifically for brain health, and we went over that. And let me see if I can figure out how to screen share on Facebook. I'm not really sure that I'm going to be able to do that today, and that's okay. So I'm not going to mess with it, but the graphic I was going to show you guys was actually or is actually in the guide that you should have gotten when you registered for this event. So it's called the Keto Flex 12-3 Pyramid is what the graphic says, and at the very bottom of the pyramid is fasting, then comes non-starchy veggies and healthy fats, prebiotics, or then prebiotics, resistant starches, and probiotics, then animal protein and fruit, and then indulgences. So today we are going to go over what that looks like. And since I was having some technology issues and cannot share my screen, there were a few pictures that I was going to share with you today. I will post those in the comments of this video after, if I can do that. Can I even do that? I'm figuring it out, guys. I don't know. I will figure that out. It will either be in our group or under this video. We'll figure it out. No worries. It'll be here. You'll be able to see them. So, and I'm going to get to what those pictures are in just a little bit. But today we're going to go over what eating this way, like in the Keto Flex 12-3 way, looks like. So that's where some of the pictures come in. Hint. Anyway, so that is a recap of yesterday. I want to say I'm so proud of you guys for participating and doing the homework. This is really, really good. I wanted to go ahead and share my own food reactions real quick. So I have actually been eating very low carb for a long time. Once I found this research switching into the Keto Flex 12-3 way, but the low carb, it's mainly low grains and low like starchy vegetables. I do eat a lot of vegetables, but I do notice when I eat more grains, and especially if I fall off the bandwagon of my like my planned trajectory for myself and eat, say, bread or something, and in about 1 hour, maybe even less, I'm usually so tired that I could lay down and take a 2 hour nap. And then on top of that, that drained energy just it lasts me for at least another day, if not longer than that. And then, well, that's the big one. So thank you guys for sharing your food reactions and doing the homework and again participating. So I did say that we were going to do some giveaways, and again, to get your name in for those giveaways, all I ask is to participate and be here with me. So, keep commenting, keep doing the homework, etc. And let me see, I had done the drawing earlier today. Let me see who that was. Oh my gosh, Debbie, you won today. So my giveaway today was the meal planner that I use to plan me and my husband's meals out for the week. So I will be sending that your way. I'm very excited to share that with you. So that has helped me a lot to stay on track with the Keto Flex diet in and of itself. So very excited for that. And then I will have another giveaway tomorrow, so be sure to stay tuned for that. So, okay. Were there any questions about what we learned yesterday? I will give us a few minutes to type questions before we dive into what eating the Keto Flex way looks like. And I'm actually going to dive a little bit into how to track to make sure that you are getting in ketosis. Let me see if there was anything else I was going to share with you before we dive in. All right, it does not look like we have any questions, so that's wonderful. Let's dive in. So the Keto Flex is low carb, but I want to make sure everyone knows that low carb does not mean low food. Okay, most vegetables contain very little calories for their large volume. Okay, so they also contain a lot of fiber that helps keep your gut healthy. So that's super important as well. So I'm just going to go over a quick example. I'm going to use an example of a 64-year-old woman with mild memory complaints who is 5'6" and weighs 130 pounds, and she does engage in daily exercise. Okay, so there's a lot of math that goes into this, and I'm not going to go over that tonight. This is not math class, but her total daily goal would be calculated to be 1,792 calories. So roughly 1,800 calories is what we're aiming for. So when we break down her macronutrient ratios into like what she should be aiming for, and the macronutrients are the big building blocks of our food and our body, different chemicals and structures. So those are proteins, fats, and carbs. So that's what we're going to break this down into. So when we break it down, her protein should be about 10%, which is about 46 grams for her. Her fat should be 75%. That is 149 grams of fat. And her carbs should be 15%, or about 67 grams. So before I go any further, I want to make sure that I say that these calculations are for getting someone into ketosis for the first time. I mentioned yesterday that the longer that you are in ketosis and the longer you eat the KetoFlex way, the less fat you will actually need to maintain metabolic flexibility and maintain a mild ketotic state. So the 75% is usually, or 75% fat is what we usually aim for to start things off. That's not necessarily where you're going to have to be at forever, but it's a really good way to ensure that you are getting enough fat to be in ketosis, but not too much fat that you're just overloading your system. So let's dive into what this looks like, right? Okay, so protein, what 46 grams of protein looks like is 2 pastured eggs and about 4.8-ish ounces of wild-caught salmon. So that does not seem like a lot, but remember, part of KetoFlex is the fasting. That's the 12-3 part. So while you're only required to or asked to fast for 12 hours, beginning 3 hours before bedtime, many people choose to push their fast longer and actually only eat 2 meals a day. So they have these 2 wonderful large meals every day, and that is where they get all of their calories. So, and that's where this would come in. So for this particular person or in this situation, she could have something with eggs in one meal and the salmon in another meal. Okay, so then let's break down the fat. So 75% fat or 149 grams of fat I'm just going to list all these different foods that you could eat for that amount of fat. So this would include 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, whether it was for drizzling on a salad or cooking with, 1 small avocado, the whole thing, 2 tablespoons of sunflower seeds, 1/4 cup of macadamia nuts, 1/4 cup of walnuts, a teaspoon of avocado oil. This you could also be for cooking or drizzling. 2 pastured eggs and 4.8 ounces of wild-caught salmon. So remember, both eggs and salmon contain both protein and fat. So we would include it in both calculations. So that's a lot to eat, but oh my goodness, that sounds delicious. I love avocados. I love nuts. So this is a really great, delicious start that it sounds like. So now let's talk about what 67 grams of carbs looks like, because that doesn't sound like a lot of carbs, right? So what that could actually include, and this is where my pictures were going to come into play. I was actually going to show you what these portions looked like and how much food you get with these macronutrient breakdowns. So the carbs would include, and all of this only adds up to 67 grams. So 1/2 cup of red cabbage, 1 cup of arugula, 1 cup mesclun, something like that. It's a green, like a leafy green. 1 cup raw spinach, one small bell pepper, 1/3 cup of mushrooms, 1/2 cup of broccoli, 9 medium spears of cooked asparagus, 1/2 small cucumber, 3 scallions, 1 tablespoon of fresh rosemary, 1/8 of a raw lemon. I believe that was to squeeze on the salmon. And let's see, 1/4 cup of fermented veggies, 1/3 small sweet potato cooked and cooled, and that's the resistant starch part, 2 pastured eggs, 1 small avocado, 1/4 cup walnuts, 1/4 cup macadamia nuts, and 2 tablespoons of sunflower seeds. That was a lot. That's a lot of food for 67 grams of carbs, right? So, and again, you'll notice that I did name some of the foods that I've already talked about in the other macronutrient categories, and that's because not every food is only in one macronutrient category. So eggs actually have protein, fats, and carbs. Avocados have a little bit of carbs as well as mostly fat. And then nuts are some combination of fat and carbs as well. And sometimes there's a little protein in there as well. So, what all of this food could look like is cooked salmon with a large salad with avocado and an omelet with veggies and avocado. And again, I will post those. Um, let me see if I can post them real quick. See if that's a thing. And new. That's a negative. Okay, I will post them afterwards. Hey, Mason. And then you guys will get the visual effect of what I'm talking about. So, okay, okay, to wrap up real quick. So, this is a very personalized situation to this particular person. And I will say that each of my own clients get a personalized macronutrient target and breakdown like this to make sure that you get into ketosis and begin fueling your brain right away. Okay, so let's move on. I was going to offer you guys some of my top recipe suggestions, so I'm really excited about this. If you guys know me at all, I'm a big foodie. So I'm really excited about really today's talk in general, but yeah. So, okay, if you choose to eat breakfast, and I will say since I push my own fast until lunchtime, I don't eat breakfast, but very occasionally like on the weekends or on vacation or something like that. So, but for breakfast, if you were doing about a 12 maybe to 14-hour fast, some breakfast ideas could be an omelet with vegetables or a salad. There is nothing saying that you cannot have salad for breakfast. That would actually be a very refreshing way to begin the day. You could have veggie loaded egg bites. I make these all the time, actually. Okay. We like to eat breakfast for dinner sometimes. So we do have several breakfast recipes that we like, which is why I have these suggestions for you. So, but some people cannot tolerate eggs, and that is very sad. However, or if you are a vegan or a vegetarian, then some breakfast ideas or a breakfast idea could be mashed cauliflower or a mashed cauliflower breakfast bowl with veggies and then your protein of choice, whether that's a plant protein or an animal protein. So I have made that once before and it was really delicious. But then our house flooded and now we're living in a hotel, as you can tell. So I have not been able to really get out of the box with that as much as I want to. So it was very delicious though. Okay, so moving on to lunch, some of my favorite lunch suggestions are a marinated tomato and onion salad with pan-seared balsamic vinegar salmon. I'm a big fan of flavoring and marinating with balsamic vinegar or vinegars in general. But this marinated tomato and onion salad, this marinade was olive oil, balsamic vinegar, parsley, pesto, and garlic. And I did make sure. Well, for the pesto, you can either make your own, which I usually roast some broccoli and then put in a few basil leaves so you don't have to use as much basil, and that makes it not as expensive. So you can either make your own pesto or you can buy a pesto. However, remember the Keto Flex is largely dairy-free. The dairy is in the indulgences category, and we prefer or prioritize raw, organic, or A2 dairy. So with pestos, there are pestos out there that you can buy pre-made that do not have dairy, or you can make your own and use nutritional flakes, which have a kind of a Parmesan nutty flavor, but they're really good as well, and that is a source of protein. So, but that's what was in that marinade, and it is absolutely delicious. So then One of my other favorite lunches, we're actually making this next week, is green chili turkey taco salad with an avocado crema. And we do use a plant-based yogurt as the base for the avocado crema. And then my third favorite lunch is a honey ginger Asian meatball with stir-fried cabbage, onions, and broccoli. And for this recipe, there's not a ton of honey that goes with it. So you get that little bit that is part of your indulgences category, but the rest of it is all protein and vegetables and fats, and it's delicious. Okay, then some dinner recipes, and we make all three of these quite often. So hamburger steak with mushrooms and onions, and then a third of a sweet potato. It's so satisfying, y'all. But we do make sure that we're buying grass-fed beef. And then salmon cakes with a homemade Caesar salad. Again, you can make Caesar salad. That is a healthy version. And then chicken pesto spaghetti squash with grain-free garlic bread. It's like a flat bread, but it's almond flour based, which is super delicious and really great in phytonutrients and fats as well. Let's see, Kathy. Kathy said, Lexi, I think you need to start a food delivery service with these recipes. That would be awesome. These are really great. So, you know what I will do? Let me pick my absolute favorite out of each category, and I'm going to write a note for myself, but I'm going to post them in the group so that you guys have these. Writing myself a reminder right now. Sorry if you can hear me typing. That way I don't forget. But yes, I absolutely want to share the deliciousness with you guys. So, oh, and I forgot a very important category, the snack dessert category. Mason, Uber Keto Flex. It could work. That is hilarious. Yes, I could totally Uber Keto Flex. That's awesome. Great idea. Kathy, you are so welcome. And then you guys will have to tell me which is your favorite after you try them. So just so we're clear on that, I want your feedback on these recipes. So, okay. Okay, for snack and dessert recipes, we've done almond blackberry popsicles before that have almond milk yogurt, like almond milk or almond yogurt, blackberries or oh gosh, no, that would I'm trying to look at the recipe as we go, guys. So it's actually almond yogurt and almond milk and then blackberries. So that's what that was. I've also made guacamole deviled eggs. I'm usually not a deviled eggs kind of person, mainly because I don't like pickles. My husband is the pickle person in our relationship, and he's okay with that because he gets all the pickles that I get. So anyway, but these guacamole deviled eggs are delicious. It's clearly just the eggs and the guacamole, and then you mix the guacamole with the egg yolk like you would a normal deviled egg, and it is so good and rich. It is very rich. And then probably the one that we make the most often, I actually have right here. As you can tell, I've eaten a lot of it. This was not all today, by the way. This was, Zach and I have been eating on this all week, but this is my grain-free granola. So I use, I'm getting my directions mixed up. Anyway, so I use pecans and walnuts, coconut chips, cinnamon, and honey, and that is it. That is all that is in here. You can use any nuts that you want, but we really like the pecans and walnuts combination. I store it in a glass mason jar, and that is our dessert. We just grab a handful and we are good to go. So those are some of my favorites. If you want to have a particular recipe that I mentioned, if you want to drop it in the comments, I will make sure that that makes it onto the Facebook page. So Also, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I will circle back around to them as we go. But I kind of wanted to go over some tracking tips because getting into ketosis, it's awesome. You're going to feel great, but we definitely want to make sure that you are actually getting there, right? So, okay. Mason said he definitely wants to try the granola. That I can make happen for sure. I'm gonna note that by putting that in bold. There we go. Okay, so tracking tips. Okay, I've got a few here, and I do personally use all of these. I recommend them for my clients, and they come with high reviews. Kathy said, "Me too." Perfect. You guys are definitely going to get this granola recipe. So my first tracking tip is to use a really solid, like, what are these called? I don't remember what the food tracking app. That's what it's called. Okay. Anyway, my favorite one is called Chronometer. And it's just the best. It's the most accurate. Let me say that. But you can use it to track your food intake and your macronutrient breakdown, and it can help you get into ketosis faster by aiming for specific targets. Um, and my clients do get free access to the paid version, which means that you can add recipes and such, which is super nice. So, Debbie, don't forget me. Absolutely. If you want the granola recipe, you got it. Okay. So that is Chronometer, my favorite food tracking app. Again, my clients do get it free when they are working with me because it is simply the best. So we made sure that was part of it. So then I do also recommend to get a food scale. These can be, I mean, you can get some really expensive ones. The one I have cost me about $15, so it really was not that bad. But this makes tracking the amount of food that you eat much easier. So when you add food into Chronometer, it'll ask you how much you ate or are going to eat or whatever is in the recipe. So having a food scale where you can do that and get that accurate number is going to help you out a lot. I actually, let's see, let me drop this link in here for you guys because I know I can comment text, maybe not pictures, but text. So I do have a link on my website to the exact one that I use, and I love it because I can switch between measuring ounces and grams and pounds, and it's very helpful. So this is a link to my website. It's the brands that I use and love myself, but this particular food scale will be under the clean kitchen supplies category. So we've got the Chronometer on board, we've got food scale on board to help us track. This is going great. So how do you actually know if your body is in ketosis? You gotta get a ketone meter, okay? So tracking, the one I recommend is actually a dual glucose and ketone meter. So it does both at the exact same time. You do not have to double prick yourself. Yay! So this will allow you to track your progress though, and really let you know, hey, that food actually made me come out of ketosis or come really close to coming out of ketosis, or I'm like way farther deeper into ketosis than I thought I needed to be or thought I was, so I'm gonna back off on my fats a little bit. So what it actually measures is beta hydroxybutyrate. And so you're going to want to track these fasting. Well, okay, I would start with fasting, and actually before you even get to tracking the ketones, I want to make sure that you're like blood glucose or your blood sugar is where it needs to be. So to make sure you're setting your body up properly, I would try to get your fasting morning glucose between 70 and 90 for about a week before you actually start really like paying attention and tracking your ketones. I mean, feel free to look at the ketones during that time, but we're going to focus on getting the blood sugar down first, then getting into the ketosis. Because if you have high blood pressure, blood sugar, you're not going to be able to get into ketosis. They are mutually exclusive. You cannot be both at the same time. So now, I will say, before I get into the targets for beta hydroxybutyrate, this is my caveat. If you have high blood sugar or diabetes or prediabetes, please don't attempt this without consulting your doctor first. And even better is to work with someone who is trained to help you with that. So that is my caveat. So let's get to beta hydroxybutyrate goals. That was a mouthful. Okay, so in the morning, you want that number to be above 0.5 millimoles, and then, or millimolar. And then throughout the day, you want it to be between 1 and 4. So you're naturally going to have lower ketones in the morning, and then they will increase as you get further through the day. So don't freak out when you're not like super high beta hydroxybutyrate levels. That's why the goal is just above 0.5. So, okay. Now where can you get this meter, right? Because there is a specific one that I do recommend that I think works best. And it is the Keto Mojo brand, but on that same link that I dropped in the comments under the brain food supplies category, you can like look at this meter for yourself. So that's on the same link. All you have to do is go to the same page, and it's under 2 different categories. So the food scale is under clean kitchen supplies, and the ketone meter is under brain food supplies. Cool. Sorry. Okay. If you guys have any questions, start pouring them in now. I'm just going to start summing up a little bit. So again, the short-term goal of KetoFlex 12.3 is to get into ketosis, to heal insulin resistance and reverse cognitive decline. Our long-term goal is to create metabolic flexibility, which is the ability to burn either fat or glucose as fuel and switch back and forth pretty readily. Again, the standard American diet really only allows us to break down glucose as fuel, and we get pretty bad at using ketones as fuel. So, and what this does, creating this metabolic flexibility, helps restore and support healthy cognition long term. So, again, what we talked about today was kind of what this looked like. And again, I apologize not being able to share my screen and showing you those pictures, but I will be posting those so that you can visualize with, if you wanted to watch this video again, what that kind of food looks like. So we went through a macronutrient breakdown for, like, as an example, and what all food is included in that, and it's a lot of food, guys. So then I went through my top recipe suggestions, which I will be sharing one of each category. So we definitely have our snack/dessert picked out, so I will be sharing that granola recipe with you. It is so good, guys. So, okay, and then we went over some tracking tips to help make sure that you're getting into ketosis and being successful there. And those were to use Chronometer as your food tracking app, a food scale to make your tracking even more accurate, and a ketone meter to make sure that what you are doing is going to, or is actually getting you into ketosis. So we've gone over a lot of information so far. And some of you can take what you've learned today and run with it and be super successful, while others are probably going to want or need more, whether it's more detail, more personalization, or even one-on-one coaching. So whatever that is, I can help create a personalized roadmap for you, with a personalized food plan and nutrient breakdown as part of a comprehensive protocol designed specifically for where you are and where you want to be, right? And even one-on-one coaching to help you through that whole process successfully. So if working together to optimize your brain health and prevent or reverse cognitive decline for you is something that you're interested in, is in alignment with what you are looking for, I would love to get on a call with you and make sure you get all your questions answered, your answers questioned. Anyway, I want to make sure that you get all of your questions answered and that you have absolute clarity on what your next steps are. So I will again drop the link to my calendar in the comments. So the first link is to my website. The second link is to my calendar, which you can also get to from my website. But everyone who is still with me, if you will comment one takeaway that you took away from today, I would love that. Really appreciate it. I want to know what you're learning, what's new, what's not, all that good stuff. And then homework for tonight. Thank you guys for doing your homework last night. I'm really proud of you guys for stepping up and taking this seriously, really, because your brain is not something that we can transplant. Right? You can't get a new brain, so we've got to take care of the one that you have. So tonight's homework is, what food are you most excited about to eat more of? So I'll share mine real quick. When I started Keto Flex, mine was the avocado, because I am an avocado fiend. And so I do eat avocados a lot. But they're so delicious, so good for you. So that's the food I was most excited to eat more of. That is your homework tonight. So when you complete that homework, I will post a day 2 homework post and comment there. Say you were done, or if you want to share what that food is, let us know. And I will then open up the floor for questions. Oh, and I will give a sneak peek. Be sure to continue participating and commenting and doing the homework, because the grand prize giveaway for tomorrow is a free coaching consult with me to personalize your macronutrient targets to get you into ketosis. So if you're interested in that, absolutely participate away. So I am not seeing any questions or anything at the moment, so I will end with that today. And again, I will be back here tomorrow night. I will attempt to fix the technological problem that I had earlier this evening, and be able to share my screen if I need to tomorrow. But either way, we will be back here at 8 o'clock tomorrow night for the last day, and we are going to go over pitfalls and workarounds, so you are not going to want to miss this. So I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye.